Do do do, theme song. Do do do, I'm broke, so this is my theme song. Do do do, just imagine this is an awesome theme song. Do do, theme song. Left of the box. Hello, welcome to Left of the Box. Bonjour, bienvenue. I'm Sandy. And of course, Abernathy. And of course, he didn't want on my lap for like the last, well, all today, but it's like he knows. He psychically knows when I'm about to hit live. And then he wants on my lap. He moves around. He starts wanting to eat the earbuds and becomes a real pain in the ass. If he just sat on my lap and chilled out, that would be one thing. But this is how he wants to start the new year. By being a big pain in the ass. Anyway, so far in the sandbox, we have Jet, the reference frame, John Lithen, Mudbuds, and Marty. Welcome. Happy New Year. Yes, I have a few fun things to go over today. And, well, the first thing I'm starting off with isn't necessarily fun. In fact, it's not. I'm going to be talking about the fox hunt in the UK because I guess since I've been following more UK politics, it really blew up on my Twitter this year due to algorithms and stuff. And yeah, so it's still a thing, apparently, and I'm going to go over it. And then I have for you all a very special treat, but you're gonna have to let me know you want this special treat. Also, let me know if everything is sounding good and everything. But I have a very special treat if you, I don't know, encourage me to show it. I'm trying to think, like, can you bribe me to show it? I put together a montage for my TYT video from things that I just went down the rabbit hole, and I spent like all day working on it yesterday and most of the previous day and even bits of today working on it. It's the longest montage I have for the video essay so far. The video essay might have to be split into 3, I'm just saying, but this one, there were just some things that came up that I couldn't let slide. And so then I did the rabbit hole thing of like, okay, let's see. And then the algorithm gods shined down on me and presented me with a buffet of counterpoints. It is so good. It is so good. It has to do with Tucker Carlson. Yeah. So, I don't want to say give me money, but give me money if you want to see it. Also, if everyone like shares and likes this and we get up to like a whole bunch of people, then I'll also share it. Hello, Germ. Welcome to the sandbox. And then after that, there was that thing that I said that I was going to read on like Christmas Day, and then we just didn't get around to. So then I'll read it today. And it's something I wrote a while ago. And it was when I had a moment of like enlightenment, of understanding of myself. And so I will share it all with you, even though I do have a video of it up somewhere on my channel from a long, long time ago. But it's still a very important message. And I would say for most of you, it's a new message because you probably haven't seen it before. Yeah. Posting in the chat is a good way too to encourage me to show it, Jet. And Mudbud saying that everything sounds and looks great. Okay. I had to get all dressed up for you, and it's only like 3 p.m. And I'm all jazzed up, wearing a sparkly blue shirt, and well, it's actually a dress. Okay, you need to get off my lap, sweetie. He's heavy. He's heavy. But then we can also talk about some of the hopes and stuff we have for this upcoming year. And it's like we always make such a big deal about it. going into a new year, new start, when really it's just a day has passed. There's nothing fundamentally different other than a digit on a calendar, and a calendar that was just, a really poorly made calendar, I might add. So, but feel free to put down any New Year's resolutions you think you're going to achieve in the SandBox. I will say that there is one and one only New Year's resolution I actually kept up with. And it was a very simple one, and I think you need to do simple. And that is to not let my car go below a quarter tank of gas. I know, sounds bizarre, but it has rarely been below a quarter tank since. And the main reason why I needed to do that is my little silly thing called ADHD. And so it would get below like a quarter tank and I'd be like, okay, well, I'm fine for the next little bit or something. And then I would completely forget. And then it would hit like the E and I'd start panicking and freaking out. And the amount of unnecessary anxiety that I have felt over the years because my car got way low on gas. Yeah. So, I haven't had that anxiety since, which is nice because I can do without so much anxiety. And I also think it's not a New Year's resolution, but I definitely want to get back to going to the gym. And an odd thing actually encouraged me to think, you know what, I can do this. I can pull it off. And it's a convoluted, I don't know. I was watching another live stream and they were talking about health and fitness and stuff of that sort. And it was mentioned that, the vast majority of people potentially watching that stream and all that sort of stuff couldn't do a full squat. That a lot of people have gotten so unhealthy that the ability to do a full squat, like butt down almost to the ground, is not something the majority of people can do as adults. And that kind of blew my mind because I can. And so I'm thinking, well, if I'm already in decent shape, then it's not too far to get in good shape. So why not? It's not this insurmountable mountain for me to get there if I'm already having like a head start there. And for some reason, just kind of understanding and realizing that the gap that I'm facing when it comes to physical health isn't that far, I'm like, then why not do it? Why not get there? Why not go that extra step? And I think like part of the reason why I can do the full squat and stuff is I do still regularly walk, like almost every day for over an hour and a half, because I need to for my book writing and whatnot. And oh my God, I can't wait to get back to it. So yeah, I think I'll be getting back to the gym, and my wrist has healed because I knew I couldn't go back to the gym with my sprained wrist, but it's healed, so I can go back. And I did like going to the gym. Like it's one thing. Once I get back into it, I think I'll be fine because I did enjoy going to the gym regularly back when I did, and it's also a nice way to meet people because I wouldn't mind meeting someone, but I never put a date on it like this year I'm going to get into a relationship because that's kind of dependent on meeting someone that you're compatible with and you can't force that. So I'm never like, okay, so this year I'm definitely going to get into a relationship because that type of thing doesn't work. When you make a New Year's resolution, if you want it to work, the thing is it has to be something you do for yourself. It can't involve anyone else. So even things like it could be something as you personally tried to build better connection with your friends. But to say, oh, I want to have more friends or I want to do this or that or the other thing that requires other people, you can't. No, that is set up for failure right there. I'm just saying. Oh, but let's see. Germ says, I'm just sitting on my ass at home all day. Well, that's why I'm here, is to help the lonely people. Poor foxes. Yeah. I'm going to start like, let's have fun in this stream. It's like, start off with the fox hunt, a brutal, brutal practice. Uh, yep, one's in the chat is a good way to indicate that you want to see the special treat. I'm cheap. I'm very cheap. You can bribe me cheap by just, showing me interest or your enthusiasm for it. Uh, John Litham saying going to try to go off caffeine again. You see, that's not something I would ever do because I love caffeine too much, but I've been addicted to caffeine since I was a teenager. And also for my untreated ADHD, it does nice things, it can actually help to calm me down. But that's the thing. I have ADHD, so caffeine affects me differently. So I can drink it, right before bed or something, and it's fine. But we're all different. We're all different. If the caffeine is not great for you, then good luck on that journey. Germ, I forget too, Sandy. I just know my car can go in there 20 highway miles after E. No, I just, uh, jet squats are legit hard on the body if you don't do them regularly. Yeah, but I was thinking about it. I'm like, wait a sec. Like they said that most adults can't do squats. I'm like, but I'm pretty sure I can still. And so I did one. And then I did a second one. And they were easy. I'm sure like if I did 10 or 15 in a row, I'd be feeling it. But I'm like, no, I can go right butt down to the ground squat. But I used to work out more and do squats as part of my routine and then have like the little dumbbells with me too to add the weight as I was doing the squats and stuff. So I have a ways to go before I get to where I was. And the thing that, I'm not going to like about it is the deflation of these, Uh, and that's been the hardest issue dealing with like trying to get into shape means I lose this because they don't fill out as nicely. Let's put it that way. But I really like the idea of being in shape, of being strong. Uh, reference frame, I started going back to the gym early December. Yeah. Oh, I hope my gym hasn't like moved over to an app or anything of that sort. That's just super annoying. Oh, but yeah, so like I do know something that I would like to do for the new year, like as part of like let's get this done, is to get my channel financially viable, as in it's actually giving me an income that I can survive on. Which means that I have to get a lot more subscribers and things. And again, that's one of the things, it's a hard, like, let's make this happen resolution because it requires other people. It requires a lot of other people to find out about my channel, subscribe to it, become members or patrons or something. So that is a lot more challenging. But if I get the TYT video done, fingers crossed it does well in the algorithms. But you let me know when you see if I see enough praise or want enough longing to see this clip that I put together, I painstakingly put together over the past few days. Then after you watch it, you can tell me if this video is going to be a banger. But why don't we get into the box hunt stuff and just kind of get it out of the way? And it's just, I wanted to add it into like a news docket, but it's like a full docket and it's long. Well, it's not long. It's long. And so I didn't want to just make one of my regular news live streams so much longer for this one-off topic, but it's not quite long enough to do its own live stream like I have with other subjects. So I figure I will just do it now. Germ wants to see the clip. Okay. Hello, Donald James. Welcome to the SandBox. Okay. It's a long clip. It's the longest one I've made so far because it's a montage of stuff to do with Tucker Carlson and oh my god. I kid you not, when I found one of those clips, I got such a massive dopamine hit. Like, it was just like I was on a high for an hour. Like, I really was when I found this clip. I was just like, whew, okay. My, how things change in 4 years. Anyway, let's get the not so great stuff out of the way first. The fox hunt, because I do find it interesting and fascinating in that people should know about this. You know, a lot of the pond jumpers, you know, they already know about this because it's in their backyard, quite literally at times. But for a lot of us over here, Canucks and Yanks, we might not know that this is still a thing because, like, I knew of it. I knew it was yearly, but I didn't know it was like on Boxing Day. I didn't know that it was basically still a thing because I figured something as barbaric as this would have been ruled out a while ago. But nope, aristocrats. Ha! They really love their violence. They love inflicting violence on helpless little animals, adorable little creatures and stuff. And so, hello, Soul Life. Welcome to the SandBox. So I was kind of blown away that this is like still a thing. It's still a thing. And so let's learn a little bit about it. And this is from Wikipedia. Fox hunting is activity involving the tracking, chase, and, if caught, the killing of a fox, normally a red fox, by trained foxhounds or other scent hounds. A group of armed followers led by masters of foxhounds or master hounds follow the hounds on foot or on horseback. Yes, so they have a little herd of dogs that will chase down a fox, and they just watch as these dogs rip it to pieces. There is something deep down fucked up with these people that this is entertainment for them. Not to mention, foxes aren't the only victims during this. A lot of people, if their pets aren't inside during that time, and the dogs come across basically any animal they can do this to, they will. It is just horrid. So fox hunting with hounds as formalized activity originated in England in the 16th century in a form very similar to that practiced until February 2005, when a law banning activity in England and Wales came to force. A ban on hunting in Scotland had been passed in 2002, but continues to be within law in Northern Ireland and several other jurisdictions, including Australia, Canada, France, Ireland, and the United States. I've never heard of this actually happening in Canada. And like, there's another thing, and it's actually, it hit me so hard. It's in my book. I make reference to this incident in my Necroplasm book. Let me show you. Yes, in this book, I make reference to something I saw, like a YouTube documentary about it years, like I'm talking years and years ago, before AI was a thing. And they didn't show the graphic details of it, but in the States, occasionally they would catch a wild cougar, sedate it, take out its canines, take out its claws, and then allow the dogs to go at it for entertainment and rip this cougar apart. And I'm just like, how there is a coal in the middle of these people's hearts, like just a huge hunk of coal sitting in the middle of their soul, that this is entertainment. And I find it the most grotesque thing. Like, I am against sports hunting. Like, if all you're doing is killing an animal because you enjoy killing animals, there is something wrong with you. That is the sign of a serial killer. Like, to put their head on your wall, why? Because you had the technology. It's not like you killed these things with your bare hands. I can understand hunting for food or trade, especially if you use all the animal type thing. And I can understand hunting to population control. I can understand those things. But even then, it has to be humane. Like, I don't want animals to suffer through this. And this is just, it's brutal. It is absolutely brutal. So let's go United States, Australia. So current status, United Kingdom. Fox hunting is prohibited in Great Britain by the Protection Wild Mammals Scotland Act in 2002, Hunting Act 2004, England and Wales, passed under the Ministry Tony Blair, but remains legal in Northern Ireland. The passing of the Hunting Act, and do you think it's just the Irish partaking in this, or do you think those British aristocrats go up there to do it? The passing of the Hunting Act was notable in that it was implemented through the use of the Parliament Acts after the House of Lords refused to pass the legislation, despite the Commons passing it by a majority of 356 to 166. After the ban on fox hunting, hunts in Great Britain switched to legal alternatives such as drag hunting and tail hunting. And tail hunting is legal, although controversial activity in Great Britain, in which hounds follow an artificially placed scent trail rather than hunting live animals. A trail of animal urine is most commonly from a fox is laid in advance and subsequently, actually, let me just click on that. And subsequently following by a pack of hounds accompanying followers on foot or horseback or both. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that there's animals that get lost to this. Not to mention that these people will go onto your property. They will break down gates. They will break laws so that they can get locks in order to get onto property in order to follow these animals. And so it's like a disregard for creatures. It's a disregard for property, but property of what they would consider lower class people. After the ban on fox hunting, hunts in Great Britain switched to, The Hunting Act in 2004 also permits some previously unusual forms of hunting wild mammals with dogs to continue, such as hunting for the purpose of enabling a bird of prey to hunt the wild mammal. Opponents of the hunting, such as the League Against Cruel Sports, claim that some of these alternatives are a smokescreen for illegal hunting or a means of circumventing the ban. Hunting support group Countryside Alliance said in 2006 that there was an anecdotal evidence that the number of foxes killed by hunts unintentionally and farmers has increased since the Hunting Act came into force, both by the hunts through lawful methods and landowners, in that more people were hunting with hounds, although killing foxes have become illegal. Tony Blair wrote in A Journey in his memoirs published in 2010 that the Hunting Act of 2004 is one of the domestic legislative measures I most regret. Who do you think is going to hold these people accountable when they actually do slaughter these little animals? Do you think anyone is going to hold them accountable for it? Anyway, there was word that kept on coming up in Twitter that I had to look into, and that is SAB, S-A-B, because they kept on referring to that, and I'm like, okay, what's this short for? But it's Hunt Saboteurs. So the Hunt Saboteurs Association is a United Kingdom organization that uses hunt sabotage as a mean of direct action to stop fox hunting. It was founded in 1963, with its first sabotage event occurring in the South Devon Foxhounds on December 26, 1963. So that's what it is. So tactics, the HSA uses tactics including hunting horns and whistles to misdirect hounds, spraying scent dealers, laying false trails, and locking gates to interfere with the process of a hunt. In the mid-1990s, members used a gizmo, a portable cassette tape player linked to a megaphone or other portable amplification equipment to play the sound of hounds in cry, causing the dogs to break off the chase. These are documented examples of HSA tactics. The HSA has expanded into Europe, Canada, and the United States and adapted their tactics depending on the type of hunting being disrupted. The HSA have disrupted deer, waterfowl, turkey, mink, and hare hunts, as well as angling and other types of fishing. As a result, some U.S. states have passed laws forbidding the disruption of illegal hunting activities. Of legal hunting activities. So again, I'm a little more uh two-minded about this because some of this, when you hunt, when you go fishing, when you hunt deer, when you do these sorts of things, it's quite often for the meat. Like you're hunting because you do eat the meat. Mink is a little bit more sus because that's usually just for the fur. What's happening to the rest of the animal? Like again, I'm not against hunting as long as it's done basically ethically. You make sure the animal doesn't suffer and you're doing it for sustenance, like you're doing it for the meat, um, and then you can use the fur for trade or whatever. That I'm okay with. Uh, but even that extends to so far. Like I am against the seal hunt. The seal hunt is still a thing here in Canada. It is, again, different than the fox hunt because the fox hunt is purely for entertainment's sake. It's purely to, watch dogs rip apart animals, which, again, it's just there is something wrong, just deep down wrong with these people. The seal hunt goes back, what, centuries, thousands years or so, by Indigenous First Nations, and it was for meat and for fur and things of that sort. And it is a lot controversial when you see how it's done, where they use like a club to bash the head in. Now, that sounds brutal, and it is, but that was because that way they don't worry about, like, from a distance, shooting the animal, wounding it, and then the animal escaping and suffering and having a long, prolonged death. So basically, it's a brutal death, but it's a quick death. Again, I'm not a fan of it because, the idea of the parent of that little seal pup watching that and being helpless to stop it, or coming back to their den to find their seal pup, like the blood all over and their seal pup gone. That, like, to me, that affects like the overall uh um essence of this world when you harm it like that, when you harm nature like that. Uh like if there's I'm not against I'm against hunting or killing animals that are like babies and the parents, the mothers that are still nursing and looking after those babies. Like I am just I feel like that hurts nature when you do that sort of thing. Um, so that's kind of where I stand on these things. But let's go a little bit more into this. But yeah, again, the seal hunt, the way that they do it was to have it basically as quick as possible and assured death, as opposed to wounding the animal and it being able to escape and having a prolonged death. And it was done for seal meat and seal fur, like the animal was being used. It wasn't, just for entertainment's sake. So there is, to me, a very big difference between the fox hunt and the seal hunt. But let's see. So, Labor alienates rural people with plan to ban tail hunting, says Countryside Alliance. So, Keir Starmer actually tries to do something good and people get mad at him. Of course, of course. Boxing Day hunts take place in England as polls suggest 65% of people think the government neglects rural areas. And this article is from Boxing Day of this year. Traditional Boxing Day hunts have gathered across England as opponents of a planned ban on trail hunting claimed Keir Starmer's government had alienated rural people. Yes, people who love to see small animals killed. Because again, are you telling me that if these dogs, while doing one of these trail, I don't know if it's tail or trail because I think I've seen both, trail hunting, are you telling me that if these dogs on these trail hunts come across a small animal and starts attacking that small animal, that immediately all those men on those horses will jump off and come to the rescue of that little animal to make sure it doesn't get harmed? Hmm? Hmm? or are they going to sit there and watch it as entertainment? The warning comes from pressure groups Countryside Alliance, which says tens of thousands of supporters have joined gatherings in the morning as it releases a poll suggesting 65% of people think Labor administration unfairly neglects country communities. That I'm not surprised. Keir Starmer neglecting countryside folk? Whew, that's a shock. The aristocrats, snubbing their nose at country folk? Who could have seen that coming? Provisions for the ban on trail hunting are included in the government's animal welfare strategy, which was published on Monday. The practice, which involves hounds following a scent rather than a live animal, was introduced to comply with the ban on pursuing foxes introduced in the Hunting Act of 2004. The ban is likely to cause further friction between the government and rural communities after recent row over charges to inheritance tax breaks for farms, which led to a partial U-turn by the government on Tuesday. A consultation on how to implement the ban was launched in early 2026. Critics of trail hunting say it has been used as a smokescreen to enable illegal fox hunting. Hunt saboteurs who monitor hunts over the Christmas period provided what they claim is evidence of illegal activity. Tim Boner, the Countryside Alliance chief executive, said when Keir Starmer said he wanted a new relationship with Countryside, we all assumed he meant a better one, but in 18 months his government has alienated rural people and created a clear impression that he does not care about the countryside. Aw, he turned his back on you too? Not just all the regular labor supporters that, like the socialist principles of labor and progressive ideas, and he turned his back on all of them, and now the countryside folk are like, he's turning his back on us too. The thing is that when you turn your back on one group of people, you're more likely to do it to another group of people whenever it's convenient. We're going to get to that in the TYT essay clip. So its warped priorities have put taxing family farms, raising rates for rural businesses, and banning trail hunting above policies that would benefit rural people. Now, I think it would benefit rural animals if you don't have dogs to tear them apart. While the partial changes to the family farm tax are a step in the right direction, the government must desperately learn the fundamental lesson of this policy debacle, which is that the need to work with rural communities, not legislate against it. A poll, okay, I haven't read this article. I'm just seeing if it gets any more about the fox hunt as opposed to taxes. So the Department of Environment, Food and Rural Affairs, this government is committed to banning trail hunting, which is too often used as a cover for illegal fox hunting, and has strong public support across the country. So this builds on the previous animal welfare reforms delivered by the government, including giving police greater powers to prevent dog attacks on livestock, protecting farmers and animals alike. The Batterers Review highlighted the need for greater collaboration. Okay, yeah. Okay, so let's move on. So fox hunting during the Irish famine. The Irish Masters of Foxhound Association was established in 1845. During the famine, while ordinary people were starving to death, there was aristocrats in red coats riding around on horseback, torturing animals to death. I think I watched this and found it interesting and informative. We'll find out. It's been a while. I've had these in the docket for a while.
The Irish Masters of Foxhounds Association was established in 1845 during the famine that Seamus referred to. While ordinary people were starving to death, there was aristocrats in red coats riding around on horseback, torturing animals.
Like, again, just the idea of wanting to keep this a tradition, wanting to enforce it, when the roots of it came through colonization and aristocrats basically brutalizing the Irish. That's the roots of this. And it's Northern Ireland that hasn't gotten rid of it yet? That just, it seems a little odd to me. I don't know why there's that disconnect there, but you know, the idea that there is support for this still, that the trail hunts are just smoke screens for illegal fox hunts and stuff, and there's still so many people desperately wanting to kill little animals. Again, it's the sign of serial killers, but you know, people who enforce colonial ideals tend to be responsible for, you know, a lot of the worst outcomes of colonial stuff, which involves the deaths of lots of people. So is it that shocking that they would be supportive of this? Not necessarily.
To death. That's what this tradition is about.
This isn't an ancient Irish tradition, Irish rural tradition. It's a colonial pursuit that was developed by the British nobility. And I think the point about the sort of contrast between the starvation of the Irish people, the enforced starvation of the Irish people during the famine, and the expansion of so-called rural pursuits by the British nobility. I mean, there is a connection, actually, because, of course, the genocide of the Irish people during what is known as the famine was linked to an ambition by our colonial masters to drive the people off the land, to clear the land. It was an accelerated version of the enclosure movement where the rich wanted to drive ordinary people off the land to clear it for their so-called pursuits.
The historical context of
Basically, anyone who's still in support of the fox hunting is sus to me. Like, I'm very suspicious of them. Very colonial, most likely, you know, probably has a lot of ties to like Zionism and things of that sort. Like, I'm very suspicious about anyone who would be supportive of this fox hunt. Probably not somebody I would be friendly with.
fox hunting in Ireland cannot be ignored. The Irish Masters of Foxhounds Association was established in 1845 during the Great Famine, and the practice itself is deeply rooted in colonial power structures, not a neutral or ancient Irish tradition, an imported phenomenon, a colonial blood sport imported and maintained by privilege.
Apparently, Tony Blair regrets bringing in a ban on fox hunting. I'll tell you, Minister, I'll take no lectures from Tony Blair. A British imperialist warmonger who's responsible for the deaths of thousands of Iraqi civilians, men, women and children. I haven't heard him regret that. I haven't heard him regret the British genocide in Ireland in the 1840s and 50s, called on Gorta Moor, the famine.
And here's another clip about it. So Brian May on politicians who support fox hunting. Someone who's not bothered about torturing an animal is not bothered about the welfare of people either. Don't vote for them.
We're seeing people coming to realize that someone who is not bothered about torturing an animal is not bothered about the welfare of people either. And this is something I've come to realize over the years where I've been campaigning. Fox hunting is not just important in its own right as a cruelty issue, it's a fantastic litmus paper. It's something you can apply to people to discover if they have compassion in them or not. Someone who's going to advocate tearing a fox apart limb from limb while it's still alive is not going to be someone who cares about children or sick people or poor people or the fact that nurses are having to go to food banks to survive. Mm-hmm. So we have no compunction now in our Common Decency campaign in saying, if you find out that somebody is an advocate of fox hunting, do us a favour and don't vote for them. Doesn't matter what party they're in. We're seeing people...
Yep. I couldn't agree more that, you know, if there are people that find torturing little animals as entertaining, they're not going to care about your well-being. They're not going to care about people they view to be below them. It's like, to me, this is like a no-brainer. This is just like, of course. How is this controversial? How is this even a debate? Like, of course, people who like to see animals tortured don't care about like the wider population or people that they see them being above them type thing. Sorry, it's been a while. I've had these on the docket, so I'm trying to remember what these were all about. Right. So the Independent tweeted out, Keir Starmer has been warned he faces considerable task in rebuilding trust with rural communities. On Boxing Day, hunts gather around the shadow of a looming government crackdown. The Labour administration intention to ban trail hunting, announced just days before these traditions events, has intensified existing tensions. This decision, alongside persistent resentment over inheritance tax changes despite the partial U-turn, has deepened discomfort among the farming communities. So here's the thing, though. I get the sense a lot of people are far more upset about this than the fact that thousands of people have been arrested for holding up a placard saying they're against, they support Palestine action because they oppose genocide. Do you think that the people that are concerned about the fox trail hunting being banned care anything about, you know, those people's freedoms of speech being ripped out, that they're being criminalized and called terrorists? I somehow get the feeling there's not a lot of crossover, but again, if you allow them to get away with one thing, it's only a matter of time before they start cracking down on other things. But there's a difference here. Like, again, keeping animals and people as safe as possible versus, you know, allowing them to hunt animals. So anyone who didn't see this type of thing coming, well, actually, I wouldn't be surprised if people didn't see this particular thing coming, because Keir Starmer strikes me as the type of person who would be in support of this. And he has said that it was a regrettable decision by the courts. So that actually makes me wonder why he's doing it. So the top in this video, oh, right, there's a video attached to this. Is there music on this? I can't remember.
I just wonder whether our government would have made that announcement
So this is the type of accent I don't like.
had they predicted a turnout like this.
That's just like every conservative, though, that has a rally and stuff and has a group of people that seems like a large group of people, but in percentage-wise isn't necessarily that large. Be like, look at all of you, since we're all like-minded, therefore everyone else is like-minded, and, you know, they should be in support of this, because if Keir Starmer knew that we were all into torturing little animals, then maybe he wouldn't have suggested to get rid of it. Oops. Hey, no, go back to where it was. I don't want to have to re-listen to him.
A turnout like this. But there's one person missing amongst us. Sir Keir? Are you here?
This might be a cultural thing, but I don't think that was actually a funny line.
We're under assault. We're under siege.
We're under assault as we go to hunt little animals.
And like all fights, it's gonna get messy. But we must stand united.
And defend our right to kill little animals. Okay, so Paul here says the toff in this video, who is using the language of violence to whip up civil strife against the manifesto pledge supported by a clear majority of British people, is the master of the Duke of Beaufort's hunt. Who is the Duke of Beaufort? The Duke were literally given the vast land holdings for free because their ancestors was the bastard offspring of Edward III. The Duke was is worth hundreds of millions of pounds, has over 50,000 acres of land, and thinks that you and I should be excluded from all that land because he is better than us. He and his hunt also think they are above the law and that they should be free to tear apart foxes because that is their birthright. I think we should truly listen to what the actual people of the countryside want, not what the aristocrat spin merchants in the Country Alliance want. Let's have rural citizens' assemblies to discuss and vote on policies like outlawing hunting and game bird shooting, land taxation in aristocrat estates, and the proceeds ring-fenced for rural communities, fund to buy out pubs, shops, communities, nature reserves, etc. A right to roam so everyone can experience the beauty of these islands, not just a tiny few. Compulsory purchase of aristocrat estates at agricultural land values to be used for rural housing and rewilding. The master of Beaufort Hunt wants a fight. Maybe we need to show him what the majority of people in the countryside actually want and think. And so here we have from some of the saboteurs. Fox escaped past Sabs while their mate was chased over the A30 by a Dorset monitor. Supporters got agitated at the sight of a fox getting away, and Ditchman started bullying a female Sab. He then did an Oscar-worthy dive, Steve Paul style. Watch till the end to see. I think I watched this. I know I did. I just don't remember it. Oh, it's so cute. So as the saboteurs are pointing out, when you see one, this is like during the mating season and stuff, there's usually a partner that's being chased away or something, or, you know, being attacked. And you could see them in the background here, from the looks of it, chasing after something.
Leave her alone! Osborne, leave her alone! She
Of course,
was
threatening
on
a
the
much
footpath until
smaller
you
person.
started pushing her around.
I never touched her.
Get away from her right now. Get away from her.
Don't you
Get away
push
from
me.
her.
Push her.
Leave
Don't
her
push.
alone.
Push him. Don't
Leave
push
her
me.
alone.
I haven't touched her.
Leave her alone.
I haven't touched her. Get
Leave
back
her
on the
alone. She was
footpath.
on it. You pushed
She was
her
doing
off
the
it.
criminal thing. I didn't push her.
You
You're
pushed her off
pushing
it.
me.
She was on it.
Don't push me.
She was on it.
Don't push me.
Let go.
Don't push me as I ram my chest into your hand.
Don't push me.
Get away from us.
Don't push me.
Get away from us
Get back
then.
on that footpath.
We were on it. You
Get on.
You pushed her off
You
it. Get
sprayed
away
her.
from her.
You sprayed private land.
Well, she stopped, didn't she?
Who?
She wasn't still doing it when you were
Well,
going
she
for
should have
her.
done it in the first place, should
Yeah,
she? Should she?
Leave
Don't
us
mind that
alone.
ditch, actually. No, you're right with ditches.
Yeah, good one.
Falling in them.
Good one. You leave her alone, all right?
Don't touch me.
Leave her alone.
Don't touch me.
You go back to your little house and leave us alone.
Don't touch me.
I'm not touching you. Just don't come towards us then.
We haven't come towards her.
You were just bullying her and
Don't
pushed her off
bully
the
her.
footpath.
I didn't push her. I didn't touch her.
You backed her
I
off the
didn't touch her.
footpath.
I didn't touch
You
her.
backed her off
It's
the
all,
footpath.
it's all on that camera.
Get away from her.
Hey.
Get away
Don't
from
push
her.
me.
Do not touch her.
Almost as good as Steve Paul.
It will be a good one, won't it?
Yeah, some of these tough guys can't handle what they want to dish out on others.
Alice, what have you done? Push me over.
Oh dear.
Alice.
Oh dear.
Silly.
What a shame.
Silly.
How sad for you.
Alice. Silly.
Here's another one. A sab in the right place with camera can save a fox. Yesterday, this fox was run ragged around Inwood and fortunately ran past the sab, forcing the hunt to stop hounds to avoid another conviction. Now mating season, sabs have to be aware that the fox scene might not be the one being chased. So we're just going to skip through this. Thank you for the raid, Kevin Logan. Everyone, go subscribe to Kevin Logan. Hello, pond jumpers. I'm just talking about you over there. Talking about the fox hunt and how barbaric it is and whatnot. And then I have some really fun stuff in store. So after this, it's going to be a lot more of a chill live stream. But if you're interested in Canadian politics with sarcasm and sass, please hit that subscribe button, like and share, all that sort of stuff. And I also talk about issues with disabilities and mental health and being autistic, neurodivergent, queer, non-binary, all of the above, just all of it. So I touch on those things. And if you're interested in that, hit the subscribe. Pond jumpers. This was something that I wanted to talk about because since I've been following more UK stuff, this was like all over my Twitter this year. And I was surprised to find out that this type of thing is still happening. So yes, the SABs are working to stop them from slaughtering little foxes and watching them being ripped apart, which is just bad. And so here's somebody who's just saying people who enjoy setting a pack of dogs on fox and watching them rip it apart can't be trusted around any animal. Here's the fox hunter smack his horse around the face with a riding crop. I pity the animal under the care of the hunt. They're all at risk, and I'm not going to linger on that video. Same with this one. I'm not going to linger on the video. Remember the woman from Coatesmore fox hunt who was caught on video kicking and punching her horse? These people view animal cruelty as a good day out. So just imagine what they do to dogs and horses when no one is watching it. Doesn't bear thinking about. And here we have, why do I have this? Oh, just some more UK stuff. Civil servants who have knowingly let foreign sex offenders into Britain will be persecuted under my government. Right, okay, yeah. So this was just a little add-on to the fox hunt. It was more a little bit of some UK stuff that I had in the docket from a while ago, but... You know, it's interesting how two-faced politicians can be. How, you know, they want to get away with all of this stuff, but as soon as anyone else tries to do this, because what he's talking about, Nigel Farage, he's talking about immigrants, the ones that they've labeled as sexual predators and stuff of that sort. Meanwhile, these two who, you know, have been sued, court cases, credible accusations, all that sort of stuff, been found guilty on some charges and whatnot, can chum it up with them. What is next? And someone who's not bothered about torturing animals is not bothered about the welfare of people either. Don't vote for them. Yeah. So peasants cheer on their betters as the parade prior to Bloodsport 1801 colorized. Yeah. So that's from a while ago. Just people cheering on this. And talk about indoctrination. Taking kids out to watch animals get ripped apart. Are you kidding me? So imagine spending your Christmas day waiting hours and freezing your flaps off to give a gift to those who are not in need. Take your gift and to a fucking food bank or something, you nauseated whole crawlers. Okay, I do love UK insults. I really do. I really do. They're very creative. I will never, ever understand the fucking nonsense. So somebody here, like a kid, gave Prince George a gift. You think he cares? You think he cares? You think he's going to remember it? All this does is teach this boy, who is no different than any other boy, he just happened to be born in a different family, that he's entitled to this type of praise, that he's entitled to people swooning over him and gifting him things when, yeah, there are people who are actually in need. He don't need this stuff. He's fine. He's fine. But there are other people that are suffering and would actually appreciate that and remember it if you gave it to them. Like, why give people who can afford anything? Like, why? Anyway, that was it for the fox hunt stuff and all of that. Let's check the SandBox. And again, hello, Raiders. Super appreciate you coming over. Let's see what people are saying. And then, if I see enough love in the SandBox, I put together a montage for my TYT essay. So yes, I'm doing, again, for the pond jumpers that are here, I'm doing an essay about the Young Turks. I used to work for them as a contractor for the Rebel HQ channel, and I'm making a video essay that won't be too kind to them. And something piqued my interest. And I saw something, and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to dig into this a little. Just a little. I'm going to dig into it. And did I ever? So it's about Tucker Carlson. And again, it's just the change that Cenk and Anna have had over the years and how they treat these right-wingers and stuff. And I found just the algorithm gods. Oh my God. Algorithm gods, not that great in spreading my content. But when I was looking for videos for a TYT essay, I was just sent gold. They showered radiance on me. I was just sent random clips that I found, and it was like, perfect. And I found some clips related to this that were just like, mwah. So I spent the last 2 days kind of putting it together. It's not like a complete one, but you'll get the idea from it. I still need to do like commentary and adjustments to it and whatnot, but wow, it's a long kind of montage put together, but it's good. It's good. It's so good. So, show me lots of praise in the SandBox, and I'll be sure to show it to you. And then you can see why the TYT essay is taking me so long. Anyway. Jet, if you don't let us be barbaric, we'll just be more barbaric. Yes. JK, at the time of debates, the Toff threatened to kill their hounds if fox hunting was banned. Hello, Film Music, and hello, JK. Hello, everyone who's been hopping in here. Okay, I think I've reached where I was. Donald James, if you're not going to eat an animal after you kill it, then it should be illegal. Fuller Music, where you have a cup of tea with a fox. Let's see. Yeah, and I'm not keen on the whale hunt either, Mudbuds, especially with the endangered animals and just how long and torturous it is for them. But again, there are some differences. Like the whale hunt, again, they needed the blubber, the meat, all that sort of stuff. So there was some functionality behind it other than just sheer pleasure. Doesn't mean that I'm in support of it, but these are different categories of things. JK, I think the traditional hunt should be continued. The toffs can get dressed up and ride their horses while us common folk take pot shots at them. When the hunter becomes the hunted. Germ, it shows the character of a person. It does. Yeah, I would never be able to be friendly with someone who tortures little animals for entertainment. Call me weird, like super left progressive, that I would never be friends with somebody who likes to torture little animals to death. Or just in general. Hello, Manoop. Let's see what people are saying. And somehow tardigrades got brought into the conversation. Whoops. Donald James, not if the majority of public says F you can't kill foxes, you gonna die for that? You'd be amazed at what aristocrats will actually send other people to die for. That's usually how it works. Jet, LMAO, dude should play soccer that in the Olympics. That dive was so dramatic. Yeah, if they enjoy watching animals get tortured for entertainment, then they probably abuse other animals. Talking about the horse. Of course. So life, put TYT in your title and watch the algorithm magic unfold. Well, we'll see, we'll see. Okay, I'm near the bottom and people are talking about chocolate. I love chocolate. I love chocolate. Oh. Did you want to see the Tucker Carlson montage? I'm not entirely sure there's enough enthusiasm in the SandBox for it. I put all this work into getting it together that, you know, it'd be a shame if I didn't show it. I'm just saying that it'd be nice. It'd be nice if there was a lot more love for it in the SandBox. Hello, Flow Snake. Hello, Rachel. How far along are you in the TYT video? It still have a long ways to go, but part of the reason why it takes so long is putting together montages like this, finding the clips, figuring out the order to lay them out and stuff. And so I have, and it's a long montage of stuff to do with Tucker Carlson and Anna and Jank. I found some clips in it that were just magic. So the thing is that you're going to see breaks in it where I cut it and whatnot. So I still have to add like commentary in it. One thing I plan on doing that I didn't quite have time to do before all of this is put the year of the clips so that you can see what year it was when they were talking about these things, so that you can get a better idea of how quickly Anna and Jank have decided to be Tucker Carlson Sims. And then, yeah, I'll explain more about it, but you know, you just have to show me that you're interested in seeing it. I put all this work into it. I want to make sure that this would be something that you actually want to see on this New Year's Day. Start the New Year's with a bang. Reference frame, thank you so much for subscribing. Ah. See, Rachel knows how to show appreciation. And I do too. It just takes a while. I'll go there. And then I have to go there. And then do this. Yeah. You know, one of these days I'm actually going to pay for like a StreamYards and stuff where I can just do this type of thing automatically. There we go. Huh? Thank you so much, Rachel, for the $2 super chat. Tucker Carlson montage. Yes, please. Yes, it's in the context of Jank and Anna's turn. And so like the first part of the first script, and I might have to break this into 3 videos at this point. The first script, which is more or less done for the first essay, and they're all connected. So I'm not going to be I'm not going to be filming and posting one until the next one is done. I kind of want to make sure that they're all complete because there might be crossover references to do, or I might accidentally repeat things if I do them separate and stuff. So I want to make sure that the consistency is there, so I get all of this done at one time. And so the first part of the video essay includes things like how they've turned on people who were coworkers, colleagues, people on the left. But then in the second part of the essay, it's going to be how they've also turned when it comes to people on the right and how much they've started to kiss their ass, like with Marjorie Taylor Greene and Tucker Carlson. Oh my God. Oh my God. But I kid you not, a couple of these clips that I came across a few days ago, when I found them, I got such a dopamine rush. So like this is work on the TYT essay that you're going to see. But yeah, I'm hoping to get the script done by like, I hate giving a time frame actually, because I'll never hold up to it if I do. Once the initial scripts are done, the reviewing the scripts, then recording my speaking parts and editing that in will take another couple weeks after the initial scripts are done. So once the initial scripts are done, I'll give you a timeline, but it's still a bit before we get to that. But thank you so much for the super chat. Reference frame wanted to wait next week when I got my budget under control, but I thought this was a HNY gift for Sandy. Why? Thank you. I super appreciate it. Okay, we're going to see it. We're going to see it. Of course we're going to see it. Like, it's just, of course. I just need to make sure that this shot is set up properly. So I do this. Photos, make sure that there's nothing extra outside. Okay, you see the media player fine. Oh, I think I can actually move it over a bit. There. Okay. And let's get right to the beginning there. Okay. So then I hit the transition. And I get out of studio mode. Okay, so I have it. So a little bit about this. You're going to see breaks in between where I've cut it, because I still need to, although there's not going to be a lot of commentary I add on top of this, and I'm going to try to keep it as short as possible if I do, only because this is already a really long montage. And something else I'm going to be doing is putting the years on, so you can see when Cenk and Anna were saying these things, like what year they were saying it. So you can get an idea of when this turn happened. And then when we get to the end, there's something that I'm going to explain that I'm going to be doing to it as well. So this is like the rough cut. So, you know, just keep that in mind when you're watching this. But, shall we begin?
Race politics subsumes the individual into the group. It erases people. It dehumanizes them. Race politics elevates appearance over initiative and decency and all the other God-given qualities that makes every person of every color unique, yet morally equal to every other person.
Believe it or not, that was a prominent race baiter and peddler of the white replacement theory, Tucker Carlson, on Fox News. And Tucker Carlson didn't like the fact that people were calling out his own rhetoric on his show, where he peddles the same conspiracy theory that inspired the shooter.
The biggest problem, he said.
That's the Buffalo shooter that was inspired by some of Tucker Carlson's rhetoric. You know, to do a 180 on someone who helped inspire mass shootings without any, without that person acknowledging it, showing any remorse, showing any growth from it, showing a turn in it, but now to suddenly be kissing his ass? You think Tucker Carlson's sorry for any of this? No.
Is people criticizing that ideology. Really? That's the biggest problem?
The biggest problem is making this about race when this was about race.
You know who made it about race, you moron? And I know he's not stupid, to be fair. He thinks his audience is stupid and that he's going to be easily able to trick them. Okay, no, you're the real problem, Tucker, because you're the one who makes every story racial, to Anna's point. Now you want to talk about, right there telling everybody what I do on a nightly basis. It's so unfair. Just because I said native-born Americans are better, that diversity is bad, that immigrants are dirty. These are all things he said.
And again, this is just from a few years ago. This isn't like, they're not commenting on Tucker Carlson like 10 years ago saying this shit. This is them just a few years ago. I wonder what has changed since.
On Fox News constantly, when people like Newt Gingrich coming out talking about classic Americans are better and immigrants from non-European countries are bad. Tucker Carlson said the worst thing that ever happened in this country was the repeal of a 1965 law that said that we could only take immigrants from Europe. He said that was the worst thing that ever happened in this country. We didn't make it racial, Tucker. You did, over and over and over and over again. And the minute that anyone actually defends black people, minorities, immigrants in this country, you go, oh, I can't believe you made it racial.
You know, the whole point is to intimidate people who want to tell the truth about what's going on in this country, to prevent them from speaking the truth, to essentially clear the way for one narrative to be shared over and over again. And that's the narrative that you get from, honestly, either white supremacists or white supremacist enablers like Tucker Carlson.
Tucker Carlson likes one narrative, you say?
Right? Because, I mean, it's inconvenient for Tucker Carlson. It's so inconvenient that a mass shooter was inspired by the garbage he spews on his show on a regular basis. It's inconvenient. So please don't address that. It makes him very uncomfortable. He needs a safe space so he can continue spewing the same toxic, dangerous rhetoric night after night with no problem.
Has there been any accountability from Tucker on that? How can you support someone who has never, what's the word? There's a word in my head for this. Something along the lines of accountability, but has shown no remorse. Like, there's a word in my head about this, but how can you support someone that you seem to have believed helped inspire mass shootings, racially motivated mass shootings? How can you now be in support of that person without that person ever showing any growth or change on the subject?
Everyone, including and most especially the right wing, goes, why didn't they do anything to stop it? And then when you say, hey, let's do something to stop it, they're like, oh yeah, your men with guns are coming for my opinion. Hey, Tucker, name one time that happened. It's never happened. He made it up. And if you're a right winger, understand that Tucker Carlson thinks you're a fool. He lies to you every night and then has a good laugh at night thinking, oh, these suckers, I got them to believe that there's imminent raids in their house from the government with men with guns saying, don't believe what you believe. And then they'll turn around and shoot government officials. It'll be great.
Tucker lies, you say? He lies? What?
Well, I guess I would ask myself, like, I mean, I lie. If I'm really cornered or something, I lie. I really try not to. I try never to lie on TV. I just don't, I don't like lying. I certainly do it, out of weakness or whatever.
Before we get to the whole lying thing, which is the point of the story, I just want to note that the majority of that conversation was about holding the elites accountable. The corporate elites. Notice he has framed Roosevelt dead behind him. I get real frustrated with people who claim they're on the left and they're super sympathetic to Tucker Carlson because he just vocalizes similar concerns about the elites, right? But what's the second half of?
Or maybe he vocalizes similar concerns about imperialism. Just saying.
That. You think that he wants himself and members of his Swanson family to pay more in taxes? Has he ever suggested that? Has he even hinted at that? Never, right? The only thing he ever does is talk about those issues and then talk about how these corporations are either too woke or too friendly to issues involving diversity, right? That's it. He's never at once been a proponent of the policies that we actually genuinely need for more equality in the country, not just racially, not just gender-wise, not just identity-wise, but economically speaking.
Well, that's partly why our press is awful, and the folks that go on his show are useful patsies, because no one has bothered to ask him, hey, you keep railing against the corporate elite, and by the way, I'll tell you why he does it. He does it because
Yeah, the people who go onto his show are useful patsies.
even the right wing now despises big business because big business is kicking the living crap out of them and giving them $8.75 to work at Walmart instead of having a real job with respect and dignity. So he's playing to the masses, but no one has ever asked him, okay, so and then what? And the biggest lie of all is that the right wing populists actually care about any of these issues that actually affect your lives.
Sorry, what was that, Jank? Those right-wing populists you have been kissing ass to for the past year can't be trusted. Ooh, I'm probably going to be snipping that little part of the clip again for other parts within the essay.
Exactly. Yep.
We have an obligation to you guys, and the obligation is to bring you the news in a way that is true and accurate. So whereas Tucker Carlson thinks, if I'm cornered, I'm going to lie, because it's about him, it's not about you guys.
He has used the defense of no one takes me seriously or considers me a credible journalist to fight a slander lawsuit that was brought forward by Karen McDougal. And in that case, the judge made the ruling that heavily relied on the argument by the defense. Her name was Judge Mary Kay Viscoso, and she said that Fox persuasively argues that given Mr. Carlson's reputation, any reasonable viewer arrives with an appropriate amount of skepticism about the statement he makes. The general tenor of the show should then inform the viewer that Carlson is not stating actual facts about the topics he discusses and is instead engaging in exaggeration and non-literal commentary. Whether the court frames Mr. Carlson's statements as exaggeration, non-literal commentary, or simply bloviating for his audience, the conclusion remains the same. The statements are not actionable.
Yeah, remember when the courts found that Tucker Carlson is just a big performer? He's a news actor who says what will get him popular, not so much things that he actually believes per se, but then stuff that he does seem to believe are pretty horrid. It's funny how he can switch back and forth so much.
Tucker even called me when I was running for Congress. I won't divulge anything that was in the private conversation, but I now realize, looking back at all the different solicitations and how they're like, oh, we can have you on air, we're gonna have you on air. Every time I clarified, I'm happy to go on air and talk about the parts where we agree. I'm happy to talk about the parts where we disagree, but I will never not point out our disagreement, okay? And so they tried a couple times, etc., and then all of a sudden they stopped. Well, it turns out it's kind of a grooming process. And so they're like poking, prodding, cajoling, and I don't want to say seducing. That sounds too wrong in this context.
You already used all sorts of words that made me uncomfortable, so.
I know, right? So might as well finish it. Anyway, come this way, we're gonna agree, etc. And then if you notice, even good progressives that go on air on Tucker's show, on Fox News, they almost never disagree. And so there'll be some Fox News programs where disagreement is allowed, or they'll have a Democratic consultant on. But 9 out of 10 times it'll be to say, now Republicans are of course right about everything, but we're so sorry for what we've done. So there's 1 or 2 guys that'll pipe up, and you'll be like, hey, look at that. It kind of somehow got on air on Fox News. But overall, they're trying to find people who will help them make their point without ever showing dissent on air. And so then you become a useful tool for their propaganda. And if you ever say to them at any point, yes, but I'm not going to agree with you on everything, they go, no, that's it, don't put them on air. If you
Thank you so much, Igloo, for the $5 super chat. Happy New Year, Sandy. I hope 2026 is a good year for you and the rest of you too. Why, thank you. I super appreciate that. Yes. Cenk used to have a very different opinion about Tucker Carlson not too long ago. I wonder what changed. In the past, I'd say 6 months? Huh. Yeah. It's odd. It's odd. There was something else I wanted to say during that little break, but I can't remember what it is. Oh, well.
Think going on Tucker Carlson and validating his talking points is a good idea. You have no idea what you're doing other than, of course, self-aggrandizement. Oh my God, I got famous by going on Tucker. Oh, I'm gonna get more Substackers. I'm gonna get more Patreon followers.
Doesn't Anna have a Substack?
Oh, they're gonna be right wing. Oh, I'm gonna be so happy. That's what you're doing, admit it. Come on, and you're gonna go enable that? Oh, yeah, Tucker, you're so right. I'm a jack-off comedian, but I know you're right. You're right about everything, Tucker. You loser, you pathetic person trying to enable right-wing fascists. And by the way, you ever see so-called progressives or people on the left go on Tucker and ever disagree with them? Tucker's asked me on before. I said, well, you know, I would disagree with you whenever we disagree. He said, oh, no, that's it. And he never had me on. So these guys that pretend to be on the left, they go kiss his ass and they go, oh, I'll never disagree. I promise you, Tucker, get me some ratings, get me some followers, and I'll never disagree with you. Oh yeah, and by the way, that clown ass Jimmy went on his show and was like, oh no, yeah, you're right. The problem is the left wing playing identity politics. Go ahead, bash people's identities, Tucker. You're so good, you're so wonderful, Tucker. Let me pucker for Tucker. Okay,
yeah.
So, and that's exactly what those clowns do. Don't ever listen to them. Don't enable fascists like Tucker Carlson who cheerlead for the Taliban and their destruction of women's rights and women themselves. The guy's disgusting, and any rational person would see that.
Really?
Government money, government deals to carry out the war, the failed war in Afghanistan. No mention of that by Tucker Carlson, so-called populist. Glenn Greenwald alleges he's a freaking socialist. No, he's a clown. He's an absolute clown, and there's no way that aligning ourselves with the likes of Tucker Carlson or anyone like him is actually going to help us accomplish any of the objectives on the left.
People are going to get very angry, I know. And your producers had been reaching out trying to get me to talk to you for at least a year and a half. And my feelings toward coming on your show went from I would never in a million years to kind of giving myself the opportunity to listen to your podcast to figure out who you really are.
Anyone who's stupid, and yes, stupid is the right word, to believe that we can join forces with so-called right-wing populists like Tucker Carlson to get what we want in our agenda accomplished in this country, like these people need to be cast aside as absolute lunatics, because clearly Tucker Carlson and people like him do not in any way share left-wing objectives.
You and I have some pretty deep.
That's the clip. When I found that, I was just on a fucking high. The dopamine rush I got from that, where Anna is calling herself stupid. Yes, she is stupid for going on to Tucker Carlson and thinking that they can, find some common ground. Oh, that clip was gold. It's gold. I was riding that high for like a good hour after I found that clip. I was just like, I couldn't believe it. Just out of all the clips, that one. It's just like, yeah.
Disagreements, but I think that some of what you've been talking about lately like hits at the heart of what I care most about. And that's the importance of this country representing the American people, the importance of the United States being a sovereign country that has politicians and a government that prioritizes the American people as opposed to a foreign government. And speaking out the way you've been speaking out about some of these issues takes a lot of courage, because it goes against the grain and it goes against, decades of propaganda and conditioning in American media. And so to me, that commonality that you and I share made me a lot more open-minded to coming on this show, because I do think that Americans from across the political spectrum need to find areas of agreement, especially as it pertains to making this country better.
Just keep in mind everything she said about agreeing with him, about what's best for America, all of that sort of stuff during this. That they have the common ground. They know what's best for America. This montage provided to you from TYT.
Know that the left and all the little gatekeepers on Twitter become literally hysterical if you use the term replacement, if you suggest that the Democratic Party is trying to replace the current electorate, the voters now casting ballots, with new people, more obedient voters from the third world. But they become hysterical because that's what's happening, actually. Let's just say it, that's true. We've never seen demographic change like this. It's roughly the equivalent of a brand new city of Chicago every year. A city populated entirely by poor people with limited education who can't speak English. And the question is, how is it good for America? Where exactly is all this criminal white supremacy, this right-wing domestic terrorism that poses, quote, the most lethal terrorist threat in the homeland? Where is it? Well, of course, it doesn't exist. In other words, you're being replaced, and there's nothing you can do about it. So shut up. The great replacement theory, it's a lie, they yelled. George Soros has nothing to do with that. Stop talking. They said we were espousing something called the great replacement theory, a well-known racist fantasy, the great replacement. They acknowledge that it's real, and they love it. This policy is called the great replacement, the replacement of legacy Americans with more obedient people from faraway countries. The great replacement plan is working.
And that was just a small fraction of the segments that he has done on the replacement theory. He has talked about this literally hundreds of times on his program.
So is that where the agreement is? I'm just wondering, is that how you, is that? Those clips weren't from that long ago. They had the date for some of them up in the corner. Not that long ago. So are those the values you share with him?
Well, what you're watching now, attacking people attacking millions of Americans because they're Muslims? It's disgusting. And I'm a Christian. I'm not a Muslim. I know there's a lot of effort to claim I'm a secret jihadi. I'm not. You should not attack people on those grounds. And you're seeing it from Republicans. What the hell are you doing? What you're doing is trying to divide the country. And I've lived through 50 years of this crap. All these fake race wars that they're always promoting. Oh, go hate each other while we loot the treasury. That's exactly what's going on. And most people are totally sick of that.
During his appearance at Turning Point's America Fest, Tucker Carlson slammed his fellow Republicans for their attacks on Muslim Americans.
Yeah, I love that clip. Better than anyone in mainstream media ever on this issue, ever. Understand that Tucker Carlson thinks you're a fool. He lies to you every night and then has a good laugh at night thinking, oh, these suckers. I've never seen a cable news host, I've never seen a New York Times reporter, Washington Post reporter, or anyone from those traditional media outlets that give that strong a defense of Muslims in America. And of course, the pro-Israel crowd is gonna say, yeah, you have to denounce them. No, I don't denounce them. I celebrate what he just said there. And guys, if you haven't noticed, Tucker Carlson has changed on some things. He keeps emphasizing that we're all individuals and no one should ever be judged based on a group. They want to maintain old traditions. He wants to go back to the Middle Ages because he thinks that was more traditional. And lunatics like Tucker Carlson apparently agree. By the way, why is Tucker like this? His mother left the family to lead a bohemian lifestyle, and she left Tucker because that was individualism in Tucker's mind. Individualism ripped his family apart. He doesn't like that. Now, get a load of the irony here, because he doesn't like.
Does Jank remember any of his previous talking points?
Like individualism. Not only should black people, non-Christians, etc., not have rights, but he thinks even on the right wing, no, liberalism, which is what he calls capitalism, okay, is about wiping away national identity, and he doesn't like that. He thinks we should all have national identity or religious identity, not individual identity. Now, the reason why that's so ironic is because Tucker Carlson goes out every night and goes, freedom, I don't want to wear a mask, I don't want to get vaccinated because of individual liberty. When in reality, he despises individual liberty. If you say, okay, I conveniently believe him when he says something I don't like, but when he says things that are at the core of what we all believe on the left, what all Americans believe, boo, I don't believe him. No, that's very convenient. Let me pucker for Tucker.
He recently, 2 days ago, made a video about Somali immigration into the States that he titled, Tucker Carlson on the Somali invasion and the self-loathing ideology destroying America. And the description of that video reads, why would you decide to import primitive Somali tribes and encourage them not to assimilate? The only possible explanation is that you're trying to destroy the country. In the video, he describes Somalis as clannish and poor. He also posted a separate clip from that interview titled, Tucker, she married her brother, about this baseless right-wing conspiracy theory about Ilhan Omar that no one has ever been able to provide any evidence justifying. Tucker didn't specifically talk about Islam in that video about Somalis, but that's a country with a 99% Muslim population. So the subtext is there. But in the past, Tucker has actually defended Trump's Muslim ban, which Carlson argued didn't actually target Muslims. In 2017, he argued that the attitudes of faithful Muslims are not Western at all and include a tolerance of violence that you don't find among Presbyterians or Jews. Similar to his use of primitive to describe Somalis in his episode, he once said in a radio interview that people from Iraq are semi-literate primitive monkeys.
Iraq is a crappy place filled with a bunch of, semi-literate primitive monkeys. But I just have zero sympathy for them or their culture, a culture where people just don't use toilet paper or forks.
And the way they treat women, I agree with you. Their culture is, but you're in their homeland, and you're over there as an American who they hate, and they want nothing more than the Americans off of their soil. So they're not going to play games.
They can just shut the up and obey, is my view.
How could you salvage Iraq at this point?
I don't, it's beyond our control. I mean, if somehow the Iraqis decided to behave like human beings or something. He'd need to say, look, I'm a bigot, okay? I'm a bigot. I don't like Islamic extremists. Like, if you are really heavily into Islam, I'm sorry, I don't care for you that much. And I don't care what that sounds like. You can call me a racist. You can come whatever you want.
And he's claimed that immigration is making America poorer, dirtier, and more divided. And on an episode of a show from August 18th, he claimed that there is a movement around the world to kill whites through mass migration. Cenk.
Yeah. So breaks down in a couple of different categories. So first of all, I don't agree with him on that Somali talk. So very much against it. The talk against immigrants, very much against it. It doesn't mean I have to cancel him. I'm just against it. I solved it. Number two, don't tell me about look, I get it. You're pointing out your point of view that you think that there's subtext against Muslims there. Maybe. On the other hand, there is overtext.
I'm sorry, what the fuck? Maybe? Maybe there's subtext there about Muslims.
Clear text of him saying, don't hate Muslims to his millions of followers repeatedly. So I'm not as worried about the subtext as the brother who's telling people in America for the first time, especially from the right, don't hate Muslims, they're individuals. So let me pucker for Tucker.
It undercuts his message when this very week he's using the same description that he used for Iraqis in the 2000s to describe Somalis. He's calling them both primitive. He's talking about how mass migration is dividing our country. It's the same thing. So I don't see this change. What I see is an opportunist saying something different at a new venue. Because on his show, he's relaxed. You see his true self. You see him selecting topics like zeroing in on Somalis, saying they're dividing our country, saying they're primitive. But then at America Fest, where everyone, they're doing it, that's the night they did the big remembrance of Charlie. Oh, we got to carry on his spirit of free debate. And I'm a Christian now. I love everyone. Okay, like 72 hours ago, you're talking, you shouldn't make, oh, I'm sorry, you shouldn't make blanket statements about groups of people. 72 hours ago, you published a video making a blanket statement about groups of people. So I don't buy it. I don't think it's sincere. He can say one thing to a different audience, but I don't think he means it.
Look, I think that the way he describes Somalis is, I can't, I think it's terrible and I don't like it and I don't want it and I disagree with it, okay? But it's not the same thing as being against a group of people. Are there countries that are poorer than other countries? And yes, should we deride them and smear them? No, right? But no, that doesn't wipe away all of his the positive things he's saying now. And I don't look. I barely care if it's disingenuous or not. Why do I care? So here's a brother saying, "Please treat Muslims equally," and it would be the Christian thing to do that. But because he said other bad things, in our opinion, politically, we're supposed to denounce that. What do you want me to do? I'm not going to denounce it. A million people saying the worst things in the world about Muslims. No one gives a goddamn. And here comes an ally from the right, and people want me to reject him. Hell no, no. So the minute I see Jake Tapper or Anderson frickin' Cooper or Wolf Blitzer or anyone in mainstream media give a defense of Muslims like Tucker Carlson did, I'll begin to consider their opinion. But as long as they're driving Israeli propaganda that you should all hate Muslims and Muslims are terrorists and the Israelis are poor little innocent victims, and not telling people that it's giant Israeli propaganda to try to get the whole world to hate Muslims, then okay, then we'll have a conversation. Until then, they are morally inferior to Tucker Carlson. How do you like them apples? Let me pucker for Tucker.
But one of the main reasons why I decided to go on his podcast is because I'm curious about him, right? Like, we see him in the media, we hear what he has to say, but it's entirely different to get to experience it for yourself. And he lives in rural Maine. It is as rural as it gets. He employs locals.
One of his houses is in rural Maine.
Lives pretty modestly considering how unbelievably wealthy he is. I mean, not only was his biological mother wealthy, his adoptive mother was also incredibly wealthy, an heir to the Swanson fortune. And he lives in a rural part of the country in a modest home. Like, it just, you would expect him to live in like a mega mansion in Beverly Hills or something, but that's not the case, which I thought was interesting.
The guy's disgusting, and any rational person would see that.
Like, I don't blame anyone who is distrusting toward Tucker Carlson, because it took me a really, really long time and consuming a lot of his programming to really believe that he had evolved on issues that are huge and matter to me, right? The question is, are you willing to put your differences aside for the issues that really, really do matter to you?
Let's check something. Okay, no, it's different. So at the very end of this montage, what I'm going to do then is focus and go through the videos of TYT. Like, I'll just do it quickly because I was thinking of like trying to clip out all the times that Anna was saying, not all of them anyway, praising Tucker some way. But if you go to the TYT YouTube page and you type in Tucker, the amount of press they have been giving this guy is obscene. It is video after video after video praising him. Then there's also promoting his 9/11 conspiracy video. And then, being real, when Tucker Carlson's talking about the 9/11 conspiracy, he's being very anti-Semitic in it. The amount of airtime they have been giving to Tucker over the past 4-6 months, how is that newsworthy? How is him, who's not, part of Fox News even anymore, how is him standing or saying that genocide is... Has he actually said genocide is bad? I don't know. But, calling out Israel for what it's doing. It's... How is that newsworthy that Tucker Carlson is doing that? When we know, anyone who rationally knows the situation, we know the only reason why Tucker is doing that is because he's anti-Semitic. It's a way of attacking Israel, and as somebody putting in, there's some money involved probably. But yeah, they've been promoting his documentaries. They've been doing so much positive press for him compared to where they were. And then I'm also, so that was just the racism part. Never mind like the sexism part and stuff that Tucker has, because I'm very tempted to also add in somewhere in that montage, maybe at the end, where Anna again is talking about how they align with some views and things of that sort. I have a clip of Tucker on a different show. The show, I remember I covered this for Rebel HQ. The original video isn't there anymore, but Midas Touch, I believe, has a clip of it. And I got it and I copied it to make sure that I also have it. But there's a clip of Tucker on a show with a guy who's like 18 or 19 at the time, who had this like right-wing YouTube channel. And Tucker is saying that it's basically, it's only natural for men to want to hunt women. That it's like their instinct is to hunt women. But it's the trans folks, trans women in washrooms we need to be worried about, and not men like Tucker. Yeah. Oh, and then I also recently found the clip. I probably watched it once upon a time when I was doing more studying on Anna's appearances, but I got it and it would be added into the essays at some point, where Anna admits that she wasn't actually called a birthing person, that it was on a medical form. And when they asked, the two hosts asked her like, oh, so did they have like that instead of gender? She had to kind of like sidestep that, because I think at one point on this medical form, it was basically asking, are you someone who can get pregnant? And they use the term birthing person. I don't think that was the gender tick box. And she knows it. But yeah, so this is the type of work I've been putting into the essay, so you can kind of gather. It takes like a lot of organizing, a lot of like figuring this out. I might cut those clips down a bit. I just don't know where, because a lot of it is part of the narrative and flows. I'm also trying my best to make sure that I'm cutting clips within context, so nobody can go back to the original video and say, yeah, but he said this right afterwards or something. So there are some clips that I've been wanting to add, that I wanted to add into the essay, but in the context of the overall clip, when I found it out, or the video, I opted against it because it was misleading or slightly out of context. So I'm trying my best to make sure everything I do is in context with this video, with the video essays that I'm doing. Like even something as subtle as I have a montage of Jank saying, I'm Muslim, I'm Muslim, I'm Muslim, 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 Muslim. But then there's one where he says, I'm an atheist. And that's kind of like at the end to interrupt the flow type thing. And the thing is that the videos clips, the sizzler as they call it, where he's saying I'm Muslim, and this is him on other shows, he never once said on those videos that he was an atheist. And the one where he said he's an atheist, he didn't say he was Muslim. And I was very specific about that because there was one instance of him saying like, motherfucker, I am Muslim, that I wanted to kind of end the Muslim part with. But he also said that, you know, he's also an atheist in that video. So I'm like, nah, I can't add that. So yeah, it's a lot of work's going into it, but I am working on it. So let me know what you guys think of that that thing that I put together. Again, something that I'm going to be doing is putting the years of the clips, so you can get like a better idea of the time frame that this has happened. But let me know what you think of that. If you thought it was a good put together montage type thing. And like I might be adding just a little bit of commentary to it, but not so much because it's already a long segment. But I might add more, like you saw some print over top of the screen at times. I might do a little bit more of that. But let me know what you think of it. Let's see. Jet saying this clip should have ended his career, talking about Tucker admitting to lying. And a little discourse as to whether Cenk can be changed back into or learn or figure things out. But I will be touching on my opinions on that in the video essay. Whereas I think most people see Anna as being too far gone. Real Johns, let them saying, woo, these clips are gold. Rachel, how long till Jimmy Dorn gets invited back to the TYT fold? Hello, True Democratic North. Pucker for Tucker. Yes, Jonathan. Sounds like a TYT shirt they should have done back in this day. Pucker for Tucker. Let's see. Igloo, it doesn't take courage to be anti-Semitic, Anna, because that's where Tucker's critique comes from. Mm-hmm. Hello, Sasha. Welcome to the SandBox. Yes, Legacy American. Ew. And hello, user. I don't know how to pronounce your second name there. And there has been issues with some of the videos I've gotten with the audio not being synced. And again, that's part of the video editing process I've gone. So I have actually synced up some audio to these videos as well. Like I had to go through that montage and make sure all the audio was level because some of the clips were louder than others. So I have to go through and make it sure that they're all within the same range. So you're not hearing one that's a lot quieter than the other and stuff. So again, it's a lot of work that goes into these things, but I kind of like how this montage turned out personally. Rachel, Tucker's in bed with Qataris. It's all about the money. John Lytham, ever since Cenk ran for political office, words have no meaning for him. Like a politician, they can be used in whatever way achieves his goals. Oops. Germ, is TYT fucking kidding with me with this Tucker stuff? No, it is. Let's see. Let's go here.
Pretty much conclude.
Oops. Sorry, just have to. There we go. Let's see. So this is TYT. So here we have Tucker Carlson defends Muslims in stunning speech. Tucker reveals a private conversation with Ben Shapiro and Mark Levin. Tucker Carlson's uncomfortable conversation with Nick Fuentes. Anna makes eye-opening appearance on Tucker Carlson's show. Anna stung Tucker Carlson mid-interview. You have to hear this. Tucker faces unhinged reaction to speech at Kirk Memorial. Libertarian is clear on where he stands on Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson enrages Israel First Conservative in Qatar. Ben Shapiro takes aim at Tucker Carlson. Candace Owens. Tucker Carlson, the U.S. is about to go to war. And then here we have ones that are 3 years old. Those are the short clips that are very different. But then if we go back again to 2 months ago, Anna reveals her private conversation with Tucker. Ben Shapiro and Tucker Carlson go to war. Tucker reveals what Trump isn't telling you. Tucker Carlson fired by Fox News. Tucker Carlson, 9/11 documentaries making people nervous. Again, we have an older one, so then it's a bit of a different tone. Tucker Carlson devastates Netanyahu in battle for Charlie Kirk's legacy. Tucker Carlson goes scorched earth on Barry Weiss. Tucker Carlson called out shocking speech of elected officials. But again, if we go back 4 years, Tucker Carlson makes disgusting Unabomber reference during Andrew Yang interview. 2 weeks ago, Tucker Carlson infuriates Israel defenders. A month ago, the right wing is tearing itself apart over Tucker Carlson. 2 months ago, the campaign to cancel Tucker is failing. Trump has Tucker's blood boiling. More leak Tucker Carlson texts. That's from 2 years ago, so that one probably not that great. Tucker Carlson devastates Netanyahu in battle for Charlie Kirk's legacy. Tucker Carlson, Theo Von, unleash on Israel. But then 2 years ago, Tucker Carlson tells on himself during Weak Man Rant. Yeah. That is a lot of airtime over the past few months devoted to Tucker Carlson, and that's not even all of it. Germ Chang does the Alex Jones thing where he spends 20 minutes saying something and also throws in, but hey, I also said the exact opposite thing. Oh, hello, Claire. I can't stand Tucker either, how he is sounding, yeah. Spicy content looks good, really good. Jet saying, yeah, Jank will hate that video. Receipts held. Yeah, okay. You guys are liking it. Oops. But just given how long that one montage is, I'm like, okay, it might have to be split into 3 videos. I don't know. Ideally, I want the TYT essay to be split into 2 videos because I want to show it on one weekend. So Saturday, one half, Sunday, the second half. And the reason is simply so they don't have time on their main show to respond to it during the break, that the whole thing gets out before they can respond to any of it. Not that they will respond to anything I do because I'm pretty much invisible to them. And it would be an absolute sign of weakness and insecurity if they make any reference to my tiny channel making an essay about them, because I am the furthest thing from a threat to them. Bookmark this. Oh. Let's see. Jet, on the topic of TYT, people are trying to discredit Dr. Ritchie's credentials. I saw a bit about that. Because Ben Dixon also covered it, and he was in strong defense of Rashad Ritchie. Personally, I don't have an opinion on it. But I am more concerned with him just being part of the TYT network, and I've never seen a clip of him pushing back. We've seen Jordan push back, we've seen John push back, we've even seen JR push back. I don't think I've ever seen Richie push back on anything that has happened on the main show. And I think Rashad Ritchie also has a lot more freedom on being attached to the network or not. Because to some extent, I understand it. I still don't respect it. When people like John and Jordan can't leave because they're in a contract, their health insurance is dependent on it and stuff. I don't think Rashad Ritchie is in the same category as them. And for him to still be part of the network and not say anything about it, as far as I know, that's my issue. Whether he has legit credentials, why lie about it if you don't? But I understand why you would. Everyone does little white lies on the resume type thing. I didn't, which was always the problem. Let's see, Flow Snake, the enmity between Carlson and Shapiro is a great example of why my enemy's enemy is my friend is not a good rule. Mm-hmm. Yeah, just because your enemies are fighting doesn't mean that you side with one of them. You just let them fight. Bookmark this. Yeah, I was just thinking that. Yeah. No. Well, I'll probably end up saying it in the video too. What I said there is that if Jank and Anna go after me on the main show because of these essays that I'm doing, it is just a profound show of weakness and insecurity. Because there is nothing my little tiny channel can do to threaten them. Like, let's just say, hypothetically speaking, I release these videos and then TYT tanks. It's not because of my videos. It's because I'm a mouse on a ship and I just bit through one rope and the boat sank. But as the mouse on the ship, if it's capable of biting through this one rope and the boat sinks, it means the boat was already in severe condition to begin with, because there is nothing that little mouse should have been able to do that would have caused that boat to sink. So there is nothing, if TYT is healthy as a network, there is nothing I could do to threaten them. These type of things will probably be in the video essay, but you get what I'm saying. And also, I don't necessarily want to see TYT sink. Like, that's the thing. I do care about the people and their jobs there and the rest of the people there, other than like Jank and Anna, who, you know, are principled, are good people. You know, I don't want to see people lose their jobs in this economy. So it's not like I'm doing this in hopes that it sinks. I'm doing this in hopes that, you know, something will change. And ideally, that would be the two main hosts on the show. That changes. John Litham, TYT has convinced him to keep up with the show because initially, from what I remember, he had thought it might be a temporary show. There's no doubt that Rashad Ritchie is bringing in a significant number of views with his Karen videos and his stuff like that. Like, he brings in a significant number of views. TYT would be hurt if Rashad Ritchie leaves for any reason. I don't think the video that was made, I don't know enough about Cam. Cam is the person who made the video, I believe. And he critiques Black media personalities as from the perspective of being Black himself. I don't know if he has enough sway and power to really influence the population on supporting Ritchie or not. The Vanguard covered it a bit, and apparently Rashad Ritchie has made a statement about it as well. So Cam is significant enough for Rashad to feel like he needs to push back. So there is that. But I don't know enough about any of it. Again, I just fall back to, I've never seen Rashad push back against the horrible rhetoric that is going on lately in TYT. Because even with the limited ability that Jordan Ewell, John Iderolda, and JR have, with their, limited abilities, probably because of their contracts and stuff, they have all spoken out in subtle ways, in more direct ways. Like we've seen recently a yelling, screaming match between Jordan and Jank. So, that's where my concern is anyone who is attached to the network but has stayed silent about the right-wing rhetoric coming out of Jank and Anna, about the right-wing kissing up, the puckering for Tucker type thing. Rachel, having a PhD is deeply impressive. Why pretend to have multiple doctorates from diploma mills? Makes no sense. Jeremy, it would be sweet if they talked about it on the show. I would freak out, honestly. I would just, it's like, I'm finally getting acknowledged in the main show, and this is why. Yeah, I'm not sure how I will handle any outcome of these videos, if that makes any sense. So my fear is they don't even get 1,000 views, and that I don't know how I will handle that. I don't know how I will handle it if I get a lot of positive attention. I don't know how I'll handle it if I get a lot of negative attention, because I've never had a video go viral. Like, the most I've had is about 20,000 views on a video, oddly enough, about TYT. But I've never gotten like hundreds of thousands of views or anything. So I'm doing these essays from a deeply principled perspective of being concerned about what the network is doing, how it's affecting online discourse with leftists, how it discourages people from wanting to get involved in politics, the outright lies that they have been spreading about people on the left. Like, I'm doing this out of this very deeply principled perspective. I have no idea how I'll actually respond to any sort of attention I get from it, but it needs to be done. Rachel, maybe Silly and Billy will have you on the stream after your TYT video gets released. Yeah, it's kind of disappointing it would take that long. I'm just saying. Jet saying Richie has released an entire video. Yeah, I just mentioned that. I haven't watched it yet either. And I don't know if I care enough to watch it. But also, let me know, like, do you think it's a good idea if I manage to keep it into two halves, 2 parts? Is it a good idea to do it in one weekend, or if I should space it out? Let me know what you think. Also, let's see. Okay, so we're getting on to 2 hours here. So I really only have one more thing I want to kind of do for you all, and it's to read this writing that I did a long time ago. And it's a writing, the best way that I have to describe it is it's a writing of understanding, of self-understanding. It was during a moment of my life where I had like this enlightened view of self, and it was very profound, and I wish I could have maintained who I was in that brief window, but reality makes that very difficult. And so after I'm done reading this, I will probably wrap up because there's friends having a gathering, and I would like to be social before the evening is done. But let's see. Jet, probably best to do it in one big video. Follow-ups are a coin flip on engagement. Yeah. I don't want it to be like 4 hours long. I'd rather split it into 2. And then it gets followed up with a live stream talking about it. Anyway, why don't I get to the writing that I did? So I also made this into a video a long time ago. Long time ago, 4 years ago or so. So it is on my channel technically, but I think it'd be good for me to read it again because a lot of you haven't heard it. A lot of you are newer to my channel. You haven't heard this, and this is a part of me. This is something that resonated deep, deep, deep in me. And especially if you're struggling with mental health issues, this is very poignant. This is a very important thing. If you're struggling with like mental health or relationships with your friends and family and stuff like that, this writing is really good. I haven't reread this in a while, so I might stutter a bit, but you'll get the point. So it's titled, I Went Crazy and It Saved My Life. Let's see. It's on a Word document. Is just watching me read this fine, I guess, so there's not too many options. I don't have it on a paper or anything. Yeah, so this writing is called I Went Crazy and It Saved My Life. Not too long ago, an event involving my family caused me to become a risk to myself. I suffered from depression and thoughts of death and suicide for more years of my life than I've been happy, free, and looking forward to my future. I've been working on getting better for most of my adult life. Luckily, I have very supportive friends, sought help from counselors, and attended groups for people who also suffer with mental health issues. I have worked and fought hard and have nearly lost the battle a few times. I was making progress, learning to set boundaries for myself with my family. This was a new thing for me. Normally, I'd be passive and do whatever they wanted to keep the peace, even if it was something I didn't want to do. I wouldn't bring up the past, even though not acknowledging it was causing my pain to become unbearable. The rest of my family had managed to move past it, in appearance at least, so why couldn't I? By ignoring and dismissing the traumas, a feeling of if we don't talk about it, it'll go away and we won't have to deal with it seemed to have set in. The thing is, it doesn't make the pain disappear, and over time, it becomes something too scary to deal with. If you don't look at the fire in the corner, you don't have to admit it's there, even when everything in your head is screaming at you to do something about it before it gets out of control. It's easier to pretend nothing is wrong rather than risk burning yourself trying to put it out. And while you're fighting with yourself to discount it, the smoke slowly suffocates you. My new boundaries were put to the test. I was asked to participate in something I wasn't comfortable with, and I told them no. That didn't end well for me or for some of my family. The strain and pressure caused me to feel horrible for putting them through this drama. It upset my mom the most, and my guilt over that was too much. I broke and gave in. Most of my family was involved, and only 2 of them asked me what was going on. The rest dismissed my feelings, didn't acknowledge my pain, and invalidated me right down to my core. They went on pretending like we were family. I crashed hard. My closest friends were keeping close eyes on me. My uncle was one of the ones to reach out, and that formed a small connection between us. I sent a text to him saying, "This family never talks about the pain." He replied, "We all have to live with pain. It makes us sharper, but maybe you're the strongest of us all because you're in touch with your feelings." Part of that phrase, "the pain makes you sharper," has been told to me by many people in different ways, and it has never sat well with me. Almost like they're trying to say the pain is a good thing and that I should be grateful for what it did to me. My grandma lives in a nursing home and is wheelchair bound. I visit her regularly, and over time we developed a strong bond. Through her, I started to understand the many destructive cycles of my family. When I'm stressing and need to be close to someone, I go be with her as I get no judgment, and she's the only one in the family that gets me. In the midst of this mess, I went to see her. I always take a drink with me, and this time she asked, "What are you drinking?" "It's half hot chocolate, half coffee," I told her. "That's just like people." "How's that?" "You're half the person you want to be, and you're half the person you are." Those words struck a chord with me. It made so much sense. I want to be someone strong, someone able to stand up to anyone or anything in my path. Yet when I'm put into different situations, the person I am comes out, and I feel like it holds me back. I knew I had to start working harder on becoming the person I want to be. My sister sent me a text asking why I didn't feel like I was part of the family. I needed to process what I was feeling, and the best way for me to do that was through writing a long letter. No shock. I tend to get a bit wordy. In my letter, I began to explain that our family not supporting me in the past, they missed out on the support I could have given them. I wrote, "Had the situations been reversed, I wouldn't have stopped until they were back on their feet. I would have done anything I could to support them and help them through their troubles. I would have been an ear, given advice, been completely understanding, encouraged them, helped them get what they need. I know this because I do this. I have guided my friends out of bad situations. I stayed by them and helped them stand when no one else would. I supported them and encouraged them to find their way. This is part of who I am. I may not be able to provide financial support, but I can help them feel like they aren't alone." Those words flowed out of me effortlessly, and I had to stop and reread what I just typed. It was true. I have strength and resilience, and I have supported those I care about and never gave up. So why wasn't I doing that for me? Something in me clicked. You could almost say I went crazy. It's not like sanity has been doing me any favors. I did a conscious split of my personality and asked that part of me for help. I knew I had to separate that part of me because I'm able to help others with their problems, partly because they're not my problems. And who better to support me than me? I'm with me 24/7. I know everything about me, and in fact, by separating that part of me, she knew me even better than I did because she could look at things objectively and not be clouded by emotions. I can't lie to that part of myself. Lots of people say you can lie to yourself, but in actuality, that's a choice. You choose to believe the lies you tell, but there's always a part of you that knows the truth. I had to commit to really talking to myself like I would to someone else. Once the floodgates were opened, there was no stopping it. There was a lot of noise in my head. I knew what she would say would be genuine, supportive, and caring because that is how I am with others. My support comes from a place of understanding and love, so by her supporting me, I was loving myself. I felt a strange sense of relief. I could relax because if something came up and I didn't think I'd be strong enough to deal with it, I didn't have to worry. She would look after it. She is strong enough to be and capable enough to handle almost everything. Even by admitting this about that part of me, I was saying that to myself. After all, she is me. I could feel a pressure in the back of my head where the neural pathways in my brain were remapping. Arguments started. For every negative point I had, she had a counterpoint. When negative feelings came up, she was able to strip away the layers to get to the source of the pain and help me through it. Walls began to crack. Conversations were happening at a rapid pace. I didn't have to let her in. She was already there with me, working from the inside to break through. I asked her, "Where have you been all of this time?" She told me, "I've always been there. The times you looked in the mirror and thought you did a good job with your makeup. The times you didn't want to go to the gym but heard, do it anyway. All the times you wanted to give up but somehow managed to keep moving forward. That was me. I couldn't be more present before because you were in too much pain. You had to ask for my help, and now that you have, I will not stop fighting for you until you find your way out of this lifetime of darkness." It's been a while since I've read this. Me. Death would be better than the pain of living. I know I don't know what happens after you die, but I'm willing to take that chance. Her. True, you don't know what happens after life. It could be better, it could be worse. It could be nothing. The thing is, you're familiar with life. You know what is and isn't possible, what the limitations are. You have some idea of what to expect. It's best to stay with what you know is real and work to change your experience versus going to a place of unknowns that has no path back. Me. Why can't I just kill myself? Her. Because you'd be making a permanent decision for all of you, including the parts of you that want to live. Me. Don't give me that suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem crap. This has been going on for decades. It's not a temporary situation. Her. Life is temporary, shockingly so. Before you know it, you will be at the end. Dying is something which will happen. It will be achieved all on its own. You don't need to speed things along and take matters into your own hands. I wanted to punch her in the face because she was right. She was able to take the cliche phrases I hear all the time, like the pain makes you stronger, or you are who you are because of all the things you've been through, and clarify them, give them meaning. So often they're said to me by people who have no understanding of what they're saying. They're simply repeating what they've been told are supportive words. Me. I feel like I've wasted my life, like I've done nothing to get better all this time. There's so much I wanted to do, wanted to accomplish. Instead, I did nothing, got nowhere, and have nothing to show. Her. All of those years, you haven't been doing nothing. You weren't wasting your time. You were busy surviving. You were doing what it took to get to the next day and the next day and the next. Think about it in terms of a wounded cat. You've had to hide your wounds and try your best to look strong and in control, and rightfully so, because there are predators out there who would take advantage of any perceived weakness. It's only now that you are safe enough that you can start tending to these wounds. I know you say you didn't do much during that time, simple distractions to fill the void. That's because you were in pain. If there is a physical pain in your body, you learn how you can move so you don't aggravate it and make it worse. Same thing with this. You learned what activities you could do so it wouldn't hurt more. That's why when I did try to come out and say good things, you rejected me. I was pointing to the wound you were trying so desperately hard to hide. And by surviving, you developed your strengths. By surviving, you developed other strengths to compensate from where the pain was holding you back. An example would be people who are dyslexic. Oftentimes their brain develops the ability to memorize extremely fast so they don't have to rely on sight reading. Imagine one day that person woke up and was no longer dyslexic. Not only can they now sight read, but they can also memorize extremely fast. It wasn't the dyslexia that gave them that added ability. It was their drive to work around it that did. The pain isn't what made you strong. You already had the strength. You had to call on it more, and by doing so, developed it into a muscle that kept you going. The sad thing is, not everyone who goes through pain gets better. Not everyone gets stronger. Not everyone can fight. Pain isn't a qualifier to strength. It's what you bring to the situation that makes you strong. It's your determination to keep fighting which helps you to grow. You were coping the best way you could with what you had. You didn't have the tools needed to fix yourself. Almost no one does. Not having those tools isn't your fault. They have to be taught to you. Those bad things that happened to you were done to you. They are not a part of you. It wasn't your choice. You have no fault in it. You are more than those bad things. They aren't in control of who you are. You made the choice to keep going despite the pain. You chose to fight. And when you have the fact that you are still here, living and moving forward to show for it, me, you're half the person you want to be and half the person you are. I'm trying so hard to be what I want to be, but I'm afraid I will never get there. What if it's impossible? Her. What Grandma said has a beautiful meaning. Your first thought was, you should be the person you want to be. What she said was far more profound, and you got it backwards. It's about becoming who you are. Those things you think you want to be are distractions, so you don't have to take a deep look at yourself. You do it because you're scared that who you are won't be accepted, won't be good enough, won't be lovable, not for others, but for yourself. You're afraid you will never meet your own expectations, and if you fail at being yourself, what would be left? So you try harder to be a person you think you should be at the expense of all that makes you, you. This is a never-ending cycle. It's impossible to be the person you want if it isn't who you are. When you let go and stop chasing all the things you think you want, you'll find the strength and power to embrace who you are. How would you know whether you can succeed at being yourself when you've never even tried? When you learn to embrace who you are and start exploring what that means, you'll be able to express yourself with confidence. You'll find the more you accept who you are, the more you will become a person you want to be. And that person will be far more than what you ever thought was possible, and you'll be able to easily maintain it because you won't be lying to yourself. All the energy you spend looking outward when turned inwards will help you understand yourself and grow. You will find that when it comes to setting up boundaries and expressing yourself to your family or anyone else, you'll be able to stand your ground because your strength will be coming from a place of truth. Wanting something that isn't there is passive and does you no good unless you start acting on it. At that point, you are no longer wanting, you are being. You start by, instead of saying, this is who I want to be, say, this is who I am. You are not someone who wants to get better. You are someone who is fighting to get better. She was able to tell me things about myself I never listened to before. And what she said came from a place of honesty, knowing, and caring. She is extremely good with words and communicating. Just 2 days into this, she summed up everything which had been said in the most powerful, beautiful phrase I had ever heard. And with it, the walls broke, and the darkness that had been trapped inside of me for so long was released. And for the first time, I could breathe and knew I was at the start of a new journey, of finding out who I really was and enjoying life. I have a future. At first she spoke these words to me. Then she told me to say them. Then I did. And I cried because I believed it. It wasn't the pain that I've been through that made me stronger. It was how I learned to compensate and adapt that made me stronger. It wasn't the bad things that happened to me that made me who I am. It was my ability to overcome those bad things that shaped me into who I am. I am not a result of the wrong that happened to me. I am a result of the perseverance to keep going. Therefore, I am not defined by the events of my past. I am defined by everything that took to get me here. Okay. This was written a long time ago. And this is the first time in a long time I've seen it. Let's see what people are saying. What kind of smart-ass remarks you have for me. Okay, scrolled up back enough to see people talking about Rashad Ritchie, Dr. Rashad Ritchie. Talking about quantum mechanics and stuff? Soul Life was in there, Looney Tunes. It's not being unmodded completely. Hello? Hello, Bad Lefty. Feral music. I get what you're... I can see... I can't pronounce half those words right now. Real John Litham, so does that mean we have to read up on quantum physics now? I think that's just a good thing to do. Oops, jumped. Where was I? Okay. Okay. Germ, thanks for sharing that, Sandy. Flow Snake, thanks for reading that. Bad Lefty, thanks. Germ, that was hopeful. I liked it. Bad Lefty, hello. I might have been here, but that would be telling. Looney Tunes, hello, hello, hello. Sandy with the jokes, and she and I have a sense of humor and sarcasm. I actually have an image of that pro. Let's see if I can pop it up on screen. That is available for sale on my website. Where is it though? Print. Oh, no, not that one. Be in here. Do I have the 8x10 here? Oh well, you get the idea. Let's go to... So I have that available for sale if anybody is interested. That's from a picture I took, and I just thought it was a really good overlay of just seeing this flower somehow managing to grow out of concrete. Me defined. It wasn't the pain that I've been through that made me stronger. It was how I learned to compensate and adapt that made me stronger. It wasn't the bad things that happened to me that made me who I am. It was my ability to overcome those bad things that shaped me into who I am. I am not a result of the wrong that happened to me. I am a result of my perseverance to keep going. Therefore, I am not defined by the events of my past. I am defined by everything it took to get me here. Okay, well, it's 5:30. I need to be wrapping things up. I have a friend nearby who is having some people over and stuff, and I like to take some opportunities to be social when I can. But yeah, my goals for this year, I guess, is just to be a better version of me. Get the TYT video essay done, that's for damn sure. Hopefully sooner than later. And I would love if somehow my YouTube channel became sustaining over this next year. The sooner the better. That would be fantastic. So that when I have a financial hit, like having to take a cat to a vet or car repairs and stuff, that I don't have to, go to crowdsourcing to cover those bills. It'd be nice to actually have an income I could rely on. But yeah, actually I should check to see who is live. Oh, it looks like Environmental Coffee House is live right now. So guess what we're gonna be doing? Let's see. Redirect. Okay, so my next live stream will be Sunday, regular news live stream. Yesterday, Minuet was on this space to have a little bit of fun, talking about us weird humans. Flow Snake, Sandy, the TYT's carping about your essay might help sub numbers, lol. Yeah, well, that's the thing. If I get shouted out on the main show because of my essay, I will most likely get a bump in my numbers. I just don't know how I'll handle that. And I don't know how I'll handle, like, I've never, as far as I know, I've never had anyone like deconstructing one of my videos before, or doing oh fuck, what's the word? Debunking of one of my videos. And I'm not entirely sure I would care to watch that. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. But fingers crossed that it helps. Hello, Carrie. Came from the Vanguard. Hello, Sandy. Well, I'm just wrapping up. I didn't know the Vanguard was live right now. Oh well, I'll be redirected to Coffee House in just a moment. But yes, let's do that. So please subscribe, like, share, do all that fun stuff. Those are things that help, that don't cost a penny. And let's see. Oh, Looney Tunes got fired from this space? Germ, I probably wouldn't watch a response video to a video I made. Yeah, I don't think I would want to watch a response video to. Also, I don't care. I just, if somebody doesn't like what I've seen, like if there's constructive criticism there or whatnot, and like reasonable dialogue, that's one thing. But if it's just somebody wanting to take me apart because they're clipping things out of context, I don't care. I don't care. User, I kind of want TYT to crash out about it in whatever way benefits Sandy the most. That's something, that's something. My suspicion is I'll be ignored, because even when I was working at Rebel HQ, I wasn't on their radar. So, yeah, nobody there knew who I was on the main shows. Because Rebel HQ was pretty siphoned off and separated from the rest. So, yeah. Oh, maybe Silly and Billy will touch it. I don't know. They haven't covered any of my stuff before, so. New year, new potential, maybe. We'll see. We'll see. Anyway, I need to wrap up because I also need to feed Frodo before I head over to my friend's place. So, no, actually, let's do this. Proper. Thank you, everyone, to coming out. Thank you for the mods. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for everyone who's become members or become patrons, who have helped out by buying my book, who have helped out by purchasing things off my wish list. All of that has helped, and I appreciate it deeply. And, you know, thank you to all the people who have just hit the like and subscribe and share. If you share from the video directly, that's the best way to do it. But yeah, all of that. And I will see a lot of you on Sunday for a regular news live stream. So, I think I thanked everyone. Salut, à la prochaine. Thank you for watching and stay tuned. I'm Sandy, wishing your tomorrow is better than your today. Hey, no. I'm Sandy, wishing your next year is better than your last.